Survivor's ready. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
The queen stays queen.
You said rustle feathers.
Did you do that?
Yeah. I'm supposed to calamity. We have ripe bananas all the time.
Dude, my prize isn't even $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace.
You officially go down as the dumbest survivor ever.
Welcome to Nut Game. All personal. Hey, we are a Survivor podcast here to talk about all things Survivor, more specifically the events of this past week. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. Tony, Survivor 45 week 2. How we doing?
Hey, we are sorry, my audio stuff just went all wonky. We are doing well. I don't know.
Dude, I can vamp if you need a minute. I can.
No, we're good.
Okay.
I'm everything's good to go. I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody hated that. Yeah, I think I'm still kind of in the same place I was last week, where I'm still a little underwhelmed, but it's still Survivor, and I'm always down for some new Survivor. So I'm optimistic as always. I just want to see more of what's going on than just at the one tribe. That's kind of where I'm at with Survivor.
Yes, I would agree with you. It's really tough when you have a tribe that goes back to tribal. Thankful for the 90-minute episode, I think, because we actually got a confessional from every single player in this episode.
Yeah.
So that's rare for a second episode, making it that much more impossible to predict the winner from the edit in this modern era Survivor, which we don't talk about on this podcast.
We don't talk about the edit, Nathan.
We don't talk about the edit. It does not sway our decision or winner picks, in case you're new here. But
it could never.
if it did, we'd be screwed because everyone got airtime.
Yeah, dude, I'm so screwed.
D and her big toe, that's a winner confessional.
What a weird thing. That's why we added a half hour for those good character moments. D and her big toe.
D and her big toe. And immediately going into a challenge that required balance. So good for her. I'm happy.
And hey, she balanced like a boss.
She did. She balanced at least as good as everyone out there. So thankful for that. What a way to start off. All right, let's start with the
yeah,
big,
I was gonna say, let's dive in.
the big stuff. Do
now
we
let's
want to
keep vamping
just
on her big toe? That's what you mean by big stuff, right?
So we had some people over watching, like we do every week, and
Yep.
we were talking how she should start an OnlyFans for her toe, and how
Oh yeah.
she's just
course.
giving out for free. We came up with the username, Big T Energy. Thoughts?
It just makes me think of Big T from the challenge, and that's confusing. Fortunately, Big
Okay,
T's
so
already
not-
taken.
Not enough of an innuendo.
No.
All right, we'll keep workshopping it. So, let's. You want to jump in just where the big stuff happens, Tribal Council,
Yeah, let's
and
start
then
with
maybe
Tribal
work
Council.
our way through other tribes as we feel necessary. Lulu, Yellow Tribe, back-to-back weeks, which, like we said, makes for a pretty boring trying to figure out what the dynamics are because the other two tribes we just are still very in the dark on, and they are too. They don't know where everyone lands. Lulu, It's very obvious because everyone's very open. The vote was pretty much between Brandon and Emily the entire time. Everyone knew it. They knew it. They openly talked about it. And Brandon goes home 3-0 because no one has votes on this tribe. Just absolute mess of a tribe. Absolute mess.
My favorite was he decided not to take the beware advantage because he couldn't risk his vote, only to risk his vote like a day later in a
Yes.
challenge that
He probably should have gotten, sure, but didn't get. And so it was just now two people lost their vote because you decided that you couldn't risk it.
Right. Which we mentioned last week that's probably the smart move to do, is to not take the beware advantage. And he did the smart move only to have a worse move, I guess, later on. So, poor Brandon, I guess. I don't know. Like, can we really feel bad for the guy at this point that he got voted out?
Here's the thing. He loves the game, and I do think that his social game was so strong. And if he just didn't have to, like, if it was Big Brother, I think he'd have a shot to win. I think because of the tribe portion of Survivor, he was never going to make it. Unless
So I thought about it a lot, and we're right
Mhm.
here. So let's just dive right into it.
Dive in.
I almost wonder if they made the wrong decision.
Okay.
Because now if they go to tribal council again, they just get rid of Emily and they're down to those three no matter what, right? Sabaya, Sean, and
Mm-hmm.
Caleb? Yep, and Caleb. So they're just down to those three. Now, if they were to merge even if they win a few and they were to merge, I don't think Emily is somebody who they can actually trust to be loyal at that point. Like I think she's gonna go wherever she thinks she fits best, and I don't think it's gonna be with those three.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's smarter to actually keep Brandon, knowing that he's out next and you're down to that same three no matter what. But if there's an opportunity for him to stick around, then you're going to be in a great spot with somebody who is incredibly loyal.
Mm-hmm.
And so Emily's just so volatile, and I think she did improve. And like honestly, that is kind of cool to see. I feel like her temperament just changed between episodes so much. It was still there, but it was more playful and more like joking around than actually being just awful.
Right.
So yeah, I just don't know why that was the route that you would take unless you really think you're going to win some challenges this way. And yeah, the game's the game. Like they did what they did, but that's kind of where I was at with it.
Yeah, I think I agree. And I said this last week. I'm like, it's when you have someone like Brandon, even someone like Bad Challenges, you want to keep them as long as you can. Because yes, they're going to
Mhm.
weaken your tribe, but like they are not going to be a threat to you at all. Like just at all. And I don't know, it's almost like here's the thing, like they're not a good tribe at challenges with or without
Yeah.
Brandon. Like none of them, okay? Like Brandon wasn't doing that puzzle solo, like every
Mhm.
single one of them. So it's not like I would almost just accept that as a loss. Like, hey, we're probably going to lose the next two anyways.
Yeah.
And I don't know, cuz I think like that's just the reality of it. And yeah, Emily will probably go. I don't We did see like a little sneak peek that like maybe it's going to be Caleb, but I don't know how much to trust, the next time on Survivor. Um it's probably inaccurate, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know where they go from here, and I'm just very worried that we're going to get week 3 of still Yellow losing. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that at all.
No, not even a little bit. Hopefully that's not the case. And I think genuinely for the sake of the show, Emily is going to be a more polarizing person in the Survivor world, and having her around longer is ultimately going to be better. But yeah, I just didn't understand the logic behind keeping her around
Mm-hmm.
unless you're planning on taking her to the end and she can be your goat, which honestly not a bad strategy. Probably shouldn't be thinking that far in advance yet though.
No, give it a couple weeks,
Yeah.
Let's win some challenges first, and let's get to the merge, and then we can figure out who's there. The interesting thing with Emily that she did something that I don't think we've seen yet with her shot in the dark, where she gave it to them as this sign of trust.
Mhm.
And I learned this week that the shot in the dark is a thing that you have with you, like even at camp.
Oh,
Did
you
I
didn't
miss
know that?
that? No.
Yeah,
Is that
they always have the die with them, and then they cast their die when they want to play their shot in the dark.
well? I knew there was a die, but I just kind of assumed that like it was, I don't know, at tribal or something. But I guess I never really viewed it as currency. So if you give it to someone, could someone else play it? Like your shot in
No,
the dark? No. You can
no.
just give it to someone and then they could prevent you from using it, kind of
Yeah, it's a guarantee
situation.
that you're not going to play it and then potentially be safe and throw it like ruin their game in a way.
That is fascinating. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. But
I don't know if in
okay.
practicality it does much, but I think the sign of trust that I'm giving this to you to let you know that I trust you was somewhat meaningful.
Like I am 100% not playing my shot in the dark because yes, yeah. No, it makes sense. Yeah, but it was an interesting tribal because, like I said, 3-0. Brandon lost his vote. Sabaya also lost her vote because Brandon gave her the beware advantage, and she wound up finding the idol. However, it was covered in candle wax, and they did not have fire, so she could not melt it, which was a funny twist.
Or I mean, I would bring it to tribal and be like, "Can I set this by the fire at tribal?"
Someone did, I think Owen from a couple seasons ago tweeted that, and then someone else replied, like, Jeff, I'd like to play this idol, and then spends the next 10 minutes over fire waiting for it to melt.
That would be really, really
And
funny.
I'm like, yeah, I guess like practically, I don't know how you pull that off, but it's
Well, if she just like as they were sitting down, just set it by the fire and just let it melt during tribal.
I
It's
guess
kind of what I
so.
was envisioning, more than standing up and being like, Jeff, can I have 10 minutes? And then standing over the fire like this, twisting it.
You do that like and just like take what you can get with it being melted, and the next tribal you bring it back, and then hopefully like within 2 or 3 tribals
See,
you have a full idol melted out.
imagine not having a fire this deep into the game, though. That would suck.
Yes. I do wonder though why, and maybe we're just not seeing it, why there isn't more attempts to make fire without flint, because that's definitely something you can do. Like it's not impossible to make fire without flint, right?
They used to do that all the time.
So it's hard for me to like fully feel for them in that way. Where
Yeah, I
it's
kind of
like,
wish that. Do they seem like the crew that would know how to do that, first of all?
Probably not. But I would argue if you're going on Survivor, you better learn how to make fire with or without flint. If I go on Survivor,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you better believe I don't know where I live in a city, so I don't know where I could legally practice that outside, but I would go and find a place and do that.
Just right outside, right outside in the grass outside your house.
You've seen that grass. That would be very suspicious if I'm just making fires out there.
It'd be funny. It'd be very funny.
I do not have land. Let's just say that.
One other thing about this tribe I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about. Sabaya seems to be like the pseudo leader of the tribe. What are your thoughts on her in general?
Yeah, well, we talked about her a little bit last week, but I think we more talked
Yeah.
about her and like not fully seeing what other people seem to be seeing. And I think this week I saw it a little bit more.
Mhm.
As far as someone who I think is just like naturally the leader in the sense that like other people seem to be putting her in that position, or at least going to her, being like, hey, what do you know, like she seems to be like this calm presence that is like, we need to run this by her kind of thing. And I mean, like, I think it shows that, like, Brandon and her kind of were the ones with like the beware advantage at first, and then you have this kind of 3-person alliance that she seems to be the head of. So I'm much more hot on her than I was, and I would say like out of everyone on this tribe, I think she has the most potential, and it's not even close to me.
There's something about her, and I don't know what it is. I feel like she's gonna get a little too comfortable with the power, and I feel like she's gonna have an Icarus moment. She's gonna fly a little bit too close to the sun with the amount of power that she's just naturally being given. Like even this episode, I think it was the confessional where she was like, "Man, I don't even have a vote, and these people are still asking. Like I'm still deciding the vote." And it was like, like pump the brakes a little bit. They're like they want your input, and they might go with what you say, but you always want to be careful that you don't get a little bit too. The power doesn't go to your head too much, and that I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into that too much, but that's one hesitation that I think I have with her.
Yeah, you could be right. But it is fascinating to see like how much just natural control she has of it. And so
It is impressive, yeah.
I think it's just this major advantage that like she has. And I think it is just complete personality, I think like if
Mhm.
you're in a tribe with her or Emily, who you're gonna be more drawn to talk game with, like
Yeah.
it doesn't really feel like I don't know, like it's just the obvious choice. So I think it's like now the ball's in her hands. Like let's see what she can do with it. And I don't know, like out of everyone else on yellow, there's no one else I'm like, oh, they have potential to go far necessarily,
Yeah.
other than her.
Sean's like a school principal. I'm surprised he hasn't taken more of that leader role. Just
I
naturally
think like
being in some
for
level of leadership in his life.
I think for both him and Caleb, I just like I want to see more from them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like, guys, like I understand that you have like clearly 2 weak people on your tribe that need to go, but like there's still conversations you can have. Like, they just kind
Mhm.
of accept it, like, oh, I guess it's the three of us, okay. But like, they don't feel like a tight alliance, so I don't know. It's really hard to feel like there's going to be a lot happening with any of them, other than, like I said, potentially Sabaya.
It is nice to see Caleb having conversations with Emily outside of that group, though.
That's true. I guess he did have that. Yes, that's right.
But yeah, I think that's all I got for that tribe. They were the focus of the episode, and yet it feels like we still don't know them, which is interesting.
Right?
We're always focusing on the people who are about to get voted out more than anything,
Yes.
Which is fair. You want to give them their shine, especially Jeff loves these people as like the people they are. He wants to tell their story, so he's going to focus on that more.
Yes, and Brandon got a lot of airtime, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt pretty clear that he was going to get voted out. I know, like last week, I said that he was probably going to go far. I think I'm switching that over to Emily, though. And I think whatever edit I thought, not that I look at the edit, but like if I was basing it off of that, within the first 5 minutes of this episode, Emily had that arc that I was describing last week, where Brandon was coming in, like, having a panic attack, can't do the challenges, and I was describing, like, oh, he's going to grow and learn so much about himself. And then immediately this episode, that's what happened to Emily, and I was like, oh, shoot, I got it wrong. I got the wrong person. Like, she's the one that's going to have this growth arc that could potentially go far. And from that moment on, I had a feeling Brandon was going this episode.
That reminds me of Emily. She does this, and we were about to move on, but she does this. She did this interesting thing a couple times in the past 2 episodes, where she just like lays out, like once they got back from the challenge, you're like, all right, everybody, it's gonna be me or Brandon. It's just up to you three, so you guys decide. That's such like an interesting thing, because I don't think she's doing it as a strategy. I think she's like straightforward. This is what's gonna happen, and there's no reason to like not talk about it. And I don't know if that's true. I think by her announcing that that's the case, it locks those two in as the only options.
Mm-hmm.
But if you leave it as like, hey, I'd love to talk to you and like explore other options, you don't. There's a reason people don't just come out and say things, and it's not just because they don't want to be rude or mean to people. It's because as soon as you say it, then it becomes fact, and that becomes what's going to happen, or that makes it so much easier to just for people to say, oh yeah, we're definitely planning on choosing between you two. I totally was thinking that when they weren't.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that's just an interesting thing that we haven't seen, but I just didn't love it at all.
No, and I think there is part of me that wonders, like, is that someone that is almost a little bit safe to keep in the game for that reason because they're so upfront? Like, I mean, that's last week, like, same thing at Tribal. Like, here we go. Here, these people are an alliance, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, go back to this, So it's like you have someone who almost doesn't have what it takes to go behind your back. And
yeah.
It's one of those, like, would you rather keep, like, an enemy that is an enemy, or keep this person who potentially is an enemy, potentially not? I don't know. So it's like that type of logic, I guess, where, like, yeah, maybe you keep her around just because she's going to shoot it straight with you.
Yeah, there's always that aspect. But I just wanted to end because you just never see that.
No.
You never see them being like, oh, it's one of us two, even though everybody knows it. You never say that.
Right. Yes, correct. What tribe do you want to talk to? What tribe do you want to talk about next?
I want to talk about Bello.
Bello. Bruce, I was starting to get a little annoyed with.
Yep.
But I gotta be honest. When he ducked down in the boat and disappeared, it got me. That was funny. That I was like, all right, that's it. He goes, oh, where'd I go? Where'd I go? That was it. I was like, okay, I think I'm getting it. I'm not there yet, but I'm just saying that was enough to get me to consider him as a
Uncle Brucey instead of father figure.
Name dropping Kane, the household name Kane from Survivor. He's just
yes, of course. Everybody knows Kane.
Oh man, yeah,
From
Bruce
Sugar
is a
fame.
lot. Bruce is a lot, and Jake loves Bruce.
Jake loves Bruce. Is it Katura? Is that how you say it?
Yes,
Is
Katura.
it? She just hates him. I actually don't even remember the other people having confessionals this episode. I remember
Uh,
Brando wearing the buff as a top like the girls.
yes, Kelly had a confessional. Whoa, shoot, what was it about? And it was a good one where I was like, okay, Kelly, I see you. Like I got it with her. And I wish I could remember exactly what it was, but yes, they definitely all had confessionals, but some of them only
Okay.
had like one or two.
Yeah. I think. Do you think the sentiment around Bruce is more similar tribe wide to Jake or to Katura?
I
Because he seems like the lightning rod
yeah,
of their tribe currently.
I think it probably is more towards Katura. If I had to guess, we just didn't really hear other people's perspective, and I would guess because of the way the producers want us to, they probably want us guessing or more feel like,
Yeah.
oh, people love Bruce. Like the fact that we only saw Jake praising him makes me wonder, like, okay, I don't know if everyone loves him, but like, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna be publicly annoyed with him on the outside.
Yeah. I think it did have Brando being like, "Oh yeah, he's a goofball. Like he's not the uncle that he pretends to be." Like I think we got some of that from everybody.
I just thought it was interesting. She seemed so adamant. She's like, "Screw this guy," and everybody else. I feel like you didn't get as strong as statements. And honestly, it reminds me of Emily and her just coming out and saying things, whereas everybody else has the tact to like hide that and to like laugh along and be a part of the joke instead of trying to like burn bridges right away. So it gave me that kind of vibe, and so I'm not sure how I feel about her at this point.
You see, I like her though because I don't think it was like Emily at all because like this was in a confessional,
I
So
guess, yeah,
like
that's
there
fair.
was to me, I almost think that's better than these other people who aren't acknowledging it because
I
I
think
think
they
like
accompanied it though with shots of her just like being unamused. And to be fair, we don't know where those shots came from. We don't know if it was like in response to Bruce doing something goofy.
hmm
But I remember seeing a couple of those where she's just like not interested. And it's like, you gotta hide your face a little bit more. So yes, I agree. It was a confessional, so it's a little bit different. But you have to be engaged with all of the facial expressions and everything. I think
sure.
not all the
I
time,
I
but you
couldn't
don't want
do
to
it.
be making a stink
If
face every
if
time.
I was with Bruce, I'd be like, "Nah." I'd be out. Until he did the boat thing, then I'd be like, "I'm in." So
Then you're all the way back in.
uh I I think Katura might be my favorite on this tribe, to be honest.
Ooh,
Either
okay.
that or Brando.
I like
I
Brando.
think because well, we knew that the three girls on this tribe have that whole. Or wait, no, it's the other tribe, right? Which ones are the
No, it's this
Virgos?
one.
It is this
It's
one.
this one,
Okay.
and then they add
Wow.
well, they're not all Virgos because one of them isn't, but they're all September birthdays.
Was that it? Okay.
Yeah, because they were
Um.
like, we're all September birthdays, and Kendra's like, are we? I think it was Virgos. I don't know astrological signs. Are we all Virgos? And then like, no. And it's like, oh, well, we're all September birthdays though.
Well, Brando wound up joining that alliance, which is good for him. I think it makes
Hmm.
sense. And Jake and Bruce are just kind of there protecting each other as strong guys. So that seems to be the dynamics of this tribe. And I don't know. It's hard to tell like how strong that's gonna be, and I'm very fascinated to see them go to tribal and see how this actually shakes up between all of them.
Hmm. Absolutely. I think my favorite on the tribe would be. Now I know I just said I don't remember her saying anything this entire episode, but Kelly last week, the way that I was digging Kelly last week, so I think I'm in on her probably more than anyone else right now. Kind of in
Yeah,
the
I
background.
I did like Kelly too.
She's like, "Oh yeah, I kind of vibe with Kendra. We're like not similar at all." And I was like, "Good, because Kendra's wild." Um, but you vibe
Correct.
with her, and that's chill. I like that.
Yes. Do you want to move over then to Reba?
Yeah, there's not much else to say about them.
No, again, give us more content. Send him a tribal or something. Reba, we already talked about Dee and her big toe. That was
Mm-hmm.
a big part. We
It's
saw
a
a lot
big
about
toe.
Drew. especially going on the summit. But maybe we'll wait for the summit until a moment. Or I guess we could just talk about it. Nothing really happened on the summit. I think Drew
Well, he
kind
got
of
the power.
he got the power, which is safety without power, meaning he could just leave tribal council without voting, without getting voted out, which is kind of cool. Good for him.
And to kind of discuss Brandon again, they both were just completely straightforward with what happened.
Yes, yeah.
And everybody bought it. I feel like usually there's one person that's like they're lying, and it's like they're just actually not. I don't remember seeing Bruce share and what the response was to him sharing.
I don't think he did either. And it was also interesting
Okay.
because Bruce didn't really give any information at the summit about like tribal dynamics, which Drew kind of picked up on.
Yep.
So I don't know. I kind of like that. Like, oh yeah, you clocked him. That he's just not not giving out to you.
Yeah.
But the other interesting thing with Drew is that he came back and was upfront about it to the point of like, hey, this is a tribal advantage that we
Hmm.
get to merge. One of us can use this if we're in trouble. And I think you mentioned that last week, didn't you? About like if you ever got like a idol or something like that, like to make it like a tribal thing. And
Yeah.
so I do like seeing this strategy kind of getting played out and to see like if that's going to be effective for him or for this tribe and keep them strong if they get to the merge and still have it at that point.
Absolutely. I just think with the safety without power, it's such a specific advantage that I don't know how you would utilize that for the good of a group. Because you leave before the vote, and then they just be like, "Oh, Drew left. All right, let's vote for this person." Like you just
Sure.
everybody knows to move their vote. It's not an idle where you can play it after. So I think, which honestly I think is good for him because ultimately they're probably not going to use it as a group because that doesn't make sense. But he still gets the credit of sharing it with everybody and it being a part of the group. So it's definitely the move in this situation because if you say that you don't have a power, people are going to assume that you do either way. So you might as well come clean about having power.
Yeah. Yeah, and Drew definitely got the most airtime. Like not even close
Hmm.
to anyone. And he did last week as well. I think we brought him up because he kind of has that like dual personality that he credits himself for.
Hmm.
So I think you have to assume that like he's gonna have a lot to do with this season. Uh, y- So I'm excited to watch him. He was also in an alliance now with Julie, Austin, and D,
Hmm.
which I don't think we saw like too much on it other than kind of like that fact. So I
It's
don't
a
know.
wild group to come together out of this. The fact that Julie's, I think, in it, I think, is the surprising part because she's the mother of the group, as she said herself, and so her being included in this is wild. But like that's what you want.
Yeah,
You want to be spread out like that. I think that's valuable for sure. But not an
right.
alliance I would have picked just looking at this group.
No, and honestly, I think that's what kind of makes me like a little more like, okay, there might be something here because
Hmm.
it's not just based on like, hey, we're the three youngest, we all get along, we should work together,
Hmm.
which is how a lot of these early alliances form. So it feels like there might be something actually valid here as far as like these are the people that we think we can benefit from, or these are the people that we can work with. Um, because I think for the past couple seasons, it seems like we've gotten that a lot, where it's like here's the old people, here's the young people. They just kind of split off in 3v3, and
Hmm.
we got a variety now. Just really sucks to be who's it, Sifu and Jay Maya, just
Yeah,
Jay.
I guess so. I
She
actually
goes
think I
by
kind
Jay
of
Maya.
like
I
Jay.
don't know.
Yeah, it just goes by Jay. Yeah.
I came across her TikTok. She's like 500,000
Oh yeah,
followers,
she's
so
a
she's
singer,
actually
dude.
big. Yeah, she wasn't just making it up like a lot of people do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. They presented her as like this super smart person, like already knowing that there's a message in the sign. I don't. Then they kind of cut away, and it was like everybody thinks that this is here, so it was less her. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I think there's the fact that she's outside the alliance makes me nervous. But this is a tribe that I don't know if they'll lose.
Yeah.
Sin and Sifu seem like workhorses.
Yeah.
So I feel like she'll be around for a while, and I don't know, something about her. I'm in.
I agree. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's hard looking at his tribe because I think like there's her and Drew probably stand out to me the most. I
Hmm.
think Sifu, it's really hard to tell like if this is just going to be a personality that's like fun for entertainment purposes and then not do much, or he'll go far. Austin, I'm not getting enough from. For someone who like found the Beware advantage, I don't know. I feel like I want to see more from him as far as like
Yeah,
like you should be more involved with what is happening with the power that you have. Yet it doesn't really it's not connecting yet. So I not
and
feeling strong about him.
you have to consider that we got maybe 10 minutes of each of these tribes.
Yeah.
So
Really?
like there's that aspect of like, oh, they're just not going to show us much anyways. Yes, he found something, so you'd expect more from him, but until they go to tribal, it'll be interesting to see who actually becomes the big players that we need to worry about.
Yeah. I just really hope Lulu doesn't lose again next week. That's gonna be so boring. Like that's
Yeah,
just what it comes
we
down
need
to.
to see something else.
We need to learn who these people are.
It's one They might be one of my least favorite tribes in the history of Survivor.
I gotta be honest. I feel like because of that, it's really hard for me to warm up to this season. And at like we're 2 episodes in. I know that's not enough time, but there have been previous seasons where 2 episodes has been enough time. So I know I just need to like separate like this is only because we're with one of the worst tribes ever. Like
Yeah.
zero charisma, not a lot of great players,
Yeah, I feel like
but
so much of the
it's
charisma was in
tough.
people who almost quit in the first episode and who were the first two boots. Like that's where all the charisma came from. Because I think Hannah did have a level of like, oh, she's pretty charismatic, but also quit immediately. Brandon is pretty charismatic, seems pretty sociable and like fun to be around, but stunk at everything else.
Hmm.
And so the two people that were supposed to carry the tribe in that respect, it feels like, were just duds.
Yeah, no, you're right. So I don't know. And I think also because we're still just very into Big Brother season, um, it's hard for me to be like, yay, Survivor. So I'm hoping that changes. And as much as like I love the 90-minute episodes, I think it's still weird getting used to that pacing
Mm-hmm.
because I think, like I mentioned earlier, it's great because everyone has a confessional. However, over half these confessionals are useless when it comes to gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, it kind of feels like filler.
We
I'm
got a
sure.
3 to 4 minute clip of her talking about how she's a long, big toe.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
which I loved. It was funny. It's like a fun little thing. But
yes.
there's gonna
No,
be stuff that we hate.
don't get us wrong. Tony loves toes. Okay, let's just make that clear.
Big
But
toe guy.
I think is that why they call you Tony?
That is. But I don't
Get
like
it?
knees.
Oh, okay. But like I think like later on in the season, the 90-minute episodes will be more useful once there's like more strategy to be shown. But like right now, I'm just like, give us anything that's like worth watching. That's how I
Hmm.
feel.
Exactly. It's just one of those seasons you need to ease into a little bit. I think we see those a lot, where the first couple is like, that kind of sucked, and then it just takes off.
Yeah, I hope you're right. Another interesting thing that was introduced this episode is a new rule for the challenges that you cannot sit out back-to-back challenges, which is thanks to our good friend Claire from last season, who got voted out because she didn't compete in hardly any challenges.
Yeah,
Remember
that's
that?
true. Claire. I forgot Claire existed. I thought Claire from Big Brother at first. I was like, what? Claire didn't play Survivor?
Nope, Claire sat out back to back to back, and then when her tribe finally went to tribal, they said, "You haven't helped at all." So Jeff announced a
Looking
new
back, that
rule.
sucks.
We talked a lot about it at the time. Like, you lost because she didn't play, so does it make sense to vote? I don't know. Whatever.
But
But
she
yeah,
didn't try, Nathan.
Jeff said you cannot do that anymore. The Sandra bench is no more.
The Sandra bench. I just had my friends just watch season 7. They've been watching through the first 7, and they finally got to Sandra, and I was just like holding my tongue the whole time, like,
What are they gonna think? I feel like I can't talk about Sandra until after Heroes versus Villains.
Sure. Because
Sorry, you brought up Sandra, so like there's that bit that I
you're a
want to
big
tell
Sandra
them.
fan, aren't you?
Dude, I love Sandra.
She's on Traders, right? The new
I don't
Trader
think so.
season.
Oh, she's gonna be on the new one.
That's exciting.
Her and Parv.
That's fun. Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
okay. Thanks, Sandra Bench, for having this new rule. Is there anything else we missed, or did we kind of hit it all?
Dude, we hit it all out of the park, I think. I'm looking through, see if there's anything.
Did we want to do our draft today, like we said we
We
would?
do. Before we do that, one
Yes.
thing that just occurred to me. If
Mhm.
you I just feel like this journey, or what do they call it? Journey, whatever.
The summit thing.
Summit,
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah, the summit. It feels like they're trying to use that as the replacement for a tribe swap of any kind, because they haven't done a true tribe swap. Last season they swapped one person to each tribe, but they haven't done a true tribe swap in the modern Survivor.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you want tribe swaps back? Do you think that this does what it's supposed to do,
Hmm.
or where are you at?
I want it back so bad. I don't think this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so over the summit. The summit does absolutely nothing, and just allows these lame advantages that cause 2 out of the 5 voting members to not have votes. It's
Mm-hmm.
stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tribe swap had issues, but and I think we'll especially notice it once we get to the merge and who's working with who. Like it's just gonna be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's yeah. I think we need it back. And if this is their this is their replacement, no, let's workshop that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I'm very much in the same camp. There, it's interesting because the reason that they introduced the tribe swap originally was because you'd go into the merge and you would just be in alliance with your tribe and just ride with that the whole way. So they introduced the tribe swap, which I think is a great way to, like, oh, you're on the bottom, you get to finally meet some new people and you get to intermingle. But Modern Survivor is so different, where I think you're constantly looking for your people to work with. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to work with them because it benefits me. You want to work with people who you enjoy being around.
Right.
So I don't know that the tribe swap is necessary, because I think if you look at like season 41, I feel like that one specifically comes to mind as soon as they hit the merge, it just like exploded. And nobody was really working around along tribe lines except for maybe the blue tribe. Couple of them, not even all of them though, because it feels like it was just the Wild West at that point.
Right.
So that's just the way that Modern Survivor plays. So maybe it's not as necessary, but I still love tribe swaps.
Yeah. No, they're fun. Bring them back. All right. You want to do this draft?
Yeah, let's draft it. We're each drafted
Okay.
3.
3 players. If you're new to listening to this, we did this with Big Brothers here as well. We each get 3 players, and basically by the end of the season, we average out how they ranked as far as placement for the season. Correct? So
Mhm.
if you win, you obviously that's the best you could do. But if you have like the winner, but you know the your other 2 picks go out first, then that might ruin So it works. Trust me, it works. How did we decide who goes first last time? Did we flip a
Pick a
coin?
number between 1 and 100.
Oh, we both did, didn't we?
Yep.
Oh, okay. On the count of 3 or what?
No, you just pick. I'll pick. Well, oh yeah, we should write. Let's write it down on a piece of paper and show each other.
Okay, but why do we do 1 in 100? Why not just do like 1 out of 10? Because it's the same.
Because there's 100 balls in the thing.
Oh, that's right. You have a ball thing.
Yeah.
So whoever's closest to the ball. Okay.
All right, I have my
So,
number written down, so you can say yours out loud.
61.
77. Can you see that?
Yeah.
77 to 61.
So whoever's closest?
No, whoever's ball comes out first. No, we'll do whoever's closest.
All right. Why'd you pick
You ready?
77 then? Okay, go ahead.
You want to be able to see it?
No, I trust you. Well,
Can
actually,
you
no,
hear
show
it?
it. Show it. People are watching this.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
This is good video content. Look at that.
Look at it.
What Tell everyone why you bought it again.
So I played D&D with some friends, and it seemed like a good bit to buy one of these and put 20 balls in it, and there would be my D20.
Was it a good bit?
Yeah, it was hilarious. I did it once, and then I spent more money than I ever should have on this thing. All right, we ready?
Your voice is like cutting out as you spin it because I think it's
Oh,
like it's
sorry about that.
No, it's really funny because like that's how loud it is. It's
Ball came out. Did you see that? Did you see that? This is the ball.
we saw the ball.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do some sleight of hand here.
What
Is
is
that
it?
96 or 69?
That's 96.
Yeah, your boy goes first.
All right, who do you want? Who's your
Or
first
can I
pick?
choose to defer?
Do you want it? Well, it's not a snake draft, so
Oh, it's not a snake draft? Okay.
we haven't done that. Do you want to do a snake draft with
I
two
feel like it
people?
was a snake draft.
I don't. Was it? I
All
mean,
right,
if
we
you
won't do
want,
snake.
we can do snake draft if you want. You won, so you decide if it's a snake draft or not, and you also decide if you want to defer or not. How about that?
I'll go regular draft. I'm going first. I'm gonna
Okay.
take Drew.
Oh, that was my first pick too.
I know it was. I know it was.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to play. I'm gonna try to play to what I think you're gonna do. Okay, because I got a list. I have 6 people here, so if you take 3, I'll be safe. But I still want to mess you up a little bit here. I'm gonna take Brando.
Rando
Were you gonna take Brando at any point?
was not certainly not.
No,
No, I might have. I might have a little bit deeper in.
certainly not. Okay, interesting. What do you got next? This is
I'm between two. I'm between two.
I really wanted Drew, not gonna lie. It's a bummer.
I'll take Kelly.
Okay, she was on my list, so maybe I should have taken her. Yeah. I'm going Sabaya.
Sabaya, that was who I was thinking of. Well, that's not who the final.
Really?
I actually get my perfect 3 right now. You ready for this?
Yeah. Who is it?
Give me Emily Flippin.
You're kidding.
I'm taking Emily.
Oh,
I'm taking
no.
I'm swinging for the fences.
Now I didn't even write her down. Didn't even write her down.
Also, the fact that her last name's Flippin is very fun.
That's how many vote flips she gets. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm between 2 now because. So we had the same 6 other than Emily because I did not have Emily written down. One of mine is J Maya, and I'm not gonna take her. I'm gonna take Katura.
My heart would have told me to take her. I decided not to, just because she is outside that alliance, and that seems risky.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm sitting with Brando, Sabaya, and Katura. You have Drew, Kelly, and Emily.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll see how this goes.
Good luck.
Yeah. Currently in the Big Brother, you are destroying me because mine went out 3 evictions ago, and you have all your 3 left. So I need this.
Yeah, that's going well.
Still anyone's game technically, but we'll see.
Better than my last year's performance. So or every other performance I've ever had, actually, maybe.
I mean, my favorite performance is obviously when you took
Ovi, and I was like, Ovi to the moon, and he was out immediately.
And then I picked Jackson and the Holly, which I will bring up every chance I get. All right. Anything else on Survivor this week, or are we wrapping this up?
Hey, let's wrap this up like a Christmas gift.
All right. For more episodes, visit notgameallpersonal.com. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Really. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at NGAPPod. That is at NGAPPod. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. And we will see you next week.
I got a new one. You ready for this? 2 shows, 2 podcasters, 1 survivor.